All right, let's talk about social media etiquette, which is our main topic for Chapter 4. And when we talk about social media etiquette or rules of engagement, your book walks through 9 rules. And the rules that are listed in your book really just barely scratch the surface. I've posted 2 additional articles in the module from industry discussing some additional do's and don'ts of social media marketing. So we're going to highlight a few here, and these come from the book and the 2 articles, and discuss some examples of each. And you'll probably notice that when you go back and read the text, a lot of these rules are similar to other rules we've already talked about concerning goals or strategies. So I highly recommend, in fact, it's required that you do read those 2 additional articles on the do's and don'ts of social media to kind of give you a better understanding of how the industry operates when using social media. So the first thing, don't be a spammer. This is a big one. It's very important to remember that the best kind of conversation is give and take. So it's important for social media marketers to figure out optimal times of engagement on each social channel and post at those times and those times alone. There's a lot of discussion on when to post on social media and how often to post on social media, and we'll go over those details as we walk through each individual social site in later modules. The main rule of engagement here, however, is to really appropriately maintain your social accounts, but also avoid neglecting your social accounts so you don't lose followers. But just don't post too much and don't ask for too many favors on social media. We're going to also assume people don't care about your product. On social media, people aren't there because they care so greatly about your product. It goes back to that permission-based versus information-based marketing. Information-based would be focused on selling product attributes. Permission-based, not so much. People don't use social media to learn about the specifics of the product. They use social media to find out if the product can solve a problem, or maybe they use it to see if they can save money, or they like to get their friends' opinions on the product. It's very, very easy for companies to find conversations about their brands or their products on blogs or social networking sites or discussion boards. You're learning about that as you watch some of your HootSuite videos, just how easy it is to find conversations when you're listening. It's instinct to jump into a conversation with a marketing message, but it's important to really step back and review the conversation. And almost every single time, the company is going to be able to find a way to enter that conversation without directly marketing their product. So let's look at this example of JetBlue. So a customer posted or a consumer posted, I'd like to take things a little slower, JetBlue, and posted, 3 emails in a row or 3 posts in a row that they had gotten from JetBlue Airways. And JetBlue Airways took this conversation that they found and they responded to that customer in a very humorous way, and also kind of involved that customer in their own promotional strategy. So there's ways to post on social media without talking about your product. So those are the first 2 highlights from the social media rulebook that we're focusing on. Let's talk about another one. Have a personality. There's a fine line, and it sometimes can be very fine line of professionalism that has to be monitored on a brand's social media pages. But it's very important to remember that people like to read humorous messages. They like to read personal messages. That's why people use social media. Remember that comfort contact impulse. They want to feel that psychological closeness, and they want to feel that with brands too. So it's okay to add personality to your brand's social media accounts. I found some fun examples. This one was from Charmin. What are your thoughts on streaming while streaming on Twitter? And so, it's a very humorous way to talk to your customers. Or Taco Bell's a great Twitter feed to look at for a personality. There's lots of other brands out there. So I'd love for you to find some examples of brands that have that personality and talk about them in the discussion for Chapter 4. I think you'll find a lot of really entertaining personalities of brands on social media. It's also important to be nice. Look at opportunities on social media to thank customers who post positive messages about your brand and company. It's really important for brands to take the time to thank their customers, to retweet some of the things their customers are saying, and to take the time to share other events or posts or relevant information from some of your brand partners or influencers. You don't constantly always have to be posting about yourself. You can post about other things too. It's also very important not to badmouth your competition. Listening on social media, like we've talked about, is a great way to gain valuable insights on the competition. But it's critical that brands do not abuse that privilege of having access to the information. If another brand or a competitor were to call you out on social media, you should always respond, but you should take your time, answer, be truthful and transparent, right? Remember the PARC model. Be credible, be authentic, and just be truthful. So be nice on social media. Play nice with others. The last one we're going to really talk about, we're going to highlight, is to maximize shareability. When we're talking about shareability, we also have to consider that we must follow the rules for each social network. The format that our message plays, that our message has, plays just as big a role as the content. So we need to keep our copy short. On a lot of social sites, we're limited in characters, but even when we're not, we need to keep our content short and to the point. Including images can increase engagement over 50% on social media sites. So you should try to always include a lot of images when you're posting on social media, or one image per post. You should also make sure you're including links or relevant hashtags so that the audience has an opportunity to interact and engage. You can see that McDonald's had, let's see, it was June 19th, and so I guess it's been up for a little over a week here from when I'm recording. And I can see that it's already had 166 retweets and over almost 500 likes. So it's a very popular post, and it's because it uses hashtags and other forms of engagement for customers. But it's important to remember that a brand or a person should not get hashtag crazy. So it really is considered best practice in the social media marketing realm to use hashtags sparingly and pick them really, really carefully. And we're going to go through a whole lecture on creating hashtags and using hashtags when we get to our content development module. But from this rule of engagement or social media do perspective, it is important to have a very effective hashtag to maximize your shareability. So, keeping up with social media etiquette can be daunting. The most important thing to keep in mind is that the social media landscape is constantly evolving. And so the best thing a company can do is work to keep up with the trends and keep up with all these rules of engagement and modify them as needed as the social landscape continues to develop. You'll see even in the 2 articles that you'll be reading, there are many variations of some of these etiquette rules, and it really comes down to a social media expert taking those rules and modifying them for their individual company's efforts. So take a look at those 2 articles, look at your textbook, go through a lot of these social media etiquette points, these rules of engagement points, and talk about in the discussion board etiquette on social media that you found interesting, or maybe something that you don't agree with, or maybe something that you really do agree with, and use those to help lead some of the discussion in your Chapter 4 discussion forum. That's the content we're covering from the textbook and the online articles. The last piece for Chapter 4 is that you do need to dive into HootSuite University, and you're going to watch a few more videos. This chapter has quite a few HootSuite videos, but they are very, very short. A lot of the content, again, will be reinforcing what you've seen in these video lectures, but there is some new, there are new insights in the videos which will help further explain what we've talked about, and will also guide you for when you take the HootSuite University certification at the end of the semester. So there's 7 videos. They total just under 9 minutes of content. you'll go through each one. Some of them are as short as 45 seconds. The longest one's only just over 2 minutes. So we'll come back to, there's 3 additional videos in this lesson 1 in HootSuite University SCMD 115, but you're not going to worry about those yet. The platform-specific etiquette videos we will come back to in a future model. For now, you just need to listen to the introduction and the 6 rules. So before you go out to HootSuite and before we finish up Chapter 4, let's take a quick recap of Modules 1 and 2. I'm going to reference back to that social media planning cycle that was introduced in Module 1. So far, we've discussed the listening step, we've talked about goals and strategies, and we've talked about the target audience. The next step in the official cycle is to discuss which tools we should use in our social media plan to help effectively run our campaign. In the last few years, we've seen a plethora of new social media tools arrive in the market. Social media tools are used to assist with the activities in the social media planning cycle. And they're essential to navigating the complex world of social media marketing. We're going to spend some time at the end of this course discussing those different types of tools that are available for social media marketers to use. So before we move in to the next steps, you need to watch all your Hootsuite videos. You need to take the Module 2 quiz. You'll be prepared to take Exam 1 and complete Assignment 1. All of those can be found in the module on Georgia View. And on Monday, Module 3 will launch, and we'll start diving into the specific social media platforms and channels.